upstate New York, along the banks of the St. Lawrence River, stands a solitary building. From a distance, it looks like a typical college campus. But what happened within these walls continues to haunt hundreds of families to this day.
I was told I was going to a boarding school. What I actually walked into was something entirely different.
The name of this institution was the Academy at Ivy Ridge. Advertisements claimed it was a boarding school for troubled teens. In reality, the state education department labeled it something else entirely: a behavior modification program, not a school. In 2001, an old college campus was purchased in Ogdensburg, New York, formerly the home of Mater Dei College. The site was massive, spanning nearly 237 acres, with over 200,000 square feet of building space. The brochure boasted of cross-country ski trails, tennis courts, and nature trails. The institution was managed by Jason Finlinson, who had previously been the director of Casa by the Sea in Mexico. The land ownership, however, lay with the family of Robert Litchfield, a Utah-based businessman and the founder of a vast network known as WWASP. WWASP stood for the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs and Schools, an umbrella organization that oversaw a collection of troubled teen programs globally. When one institution was shut down, students were simply transferred to another. In 2004, when the Mexican government closed Casa by the Sea, hundreds of students were relocated to Ivy Ridge, causing the campus to become severely overcrowded. The advertisements promised discipline, counseling, and academic excellence. Parents believed their children would return changed for the better. At its peak, there were nearly 500 students enrolled here. But behind these walls, reality bore no resemblance to the advertisements. On their very first day of enrollment, every new student was handed a thick rulebook, page after page of regulations that had to be memorized day after day. These rules imposed unimaginably harsh conditions. Lower-level students were not permitted to look out of windows. Laughing was prohibited. Speech was strictly controlled. There was almost no opportunity for students to interact naturally with one another. The program operated on a level system, ranging from 0 to 6. Each level had to be earned through points, and points were deducted for the slightest mistake. Reaching level 6 meant graduation from the program. But the system was designed in such a way that achieving this goal was made nearly impossible. At the core of this system were sessions called seminars, 2 to 4 day-long events held once every 4 to 6 weeks. Advancing to the next level required passing a seminar. Former students later stated that these seminars were a method to force students to stop questioning the program's ideals and to force them to conform to the group's collective mindset, a technique of controlling thought processes through both mental and physical exhaustion. Punishments for breaking rules were horrific. According to testimonies from former students, for even minor mistakes, they were forced to lie on the floor for hours on end, chins touching the floor, with arms held at their sides. The quality of the food was poor. Day after day, the same simple sandwiches. Further serious allegations emerged. Unauthorized medical procedures, psychological abuse, sexual assault, and physical violence. CCTV footage from inside the institution, recovered later, captured scenes of violent restraints. Boys and girls were kept in separate branches, with no opportunity for contact under any circumstances. Communication with the outside world was nearly severed. Phone calls were controlled and letters were monitored. Families often had no idea what was truly happening inside.
And throughout this entire time, a 2003 New York Times report revealed that the institution's director had previously worked at that same Mexican center, where similar allegations had already been raised. What happened in 2005 brought the simmering resentment within the institution to light. A riot broke out in the boys' wing. The result? Nearly 4 dozen students were expelled and 12 were arrested. The sheriff's office had to dispatch multiple officers to the scene. At the time, the institution claimed it would review the situation and implement procedures to prevent such incidents in the future. But the riot did not shut down the institution. It continued for several more years. The following year, in 2006, the New York State Attorney General's office fined Ivy Ridge $250,000. The charge? The institution was issuing high school diplomas without any authorization. They were ordered to refund some tuition fees to former students and stop advertising themselves as an accredited school. In December 2006, the New York State Education Department rejected Ivy Ridge's application to issue diplomas. Their letter explicitly stated that this institution was essentially a behavior modification program, not a genuine school. After this ruling, enrollment numbers plummeted, dropping from 500 to under 100. Parents began to realize that what this institution had been claiming was not true. Even more explosive information came to light years later. An investigation by the U.S. media uncovered a letter revealing that the State Education Department had formally notified Ivy Ridge of serious deficiencies in its health and safety protocols as early as 2006. 3 years before the institution finally closed. The question remains, what did the state know at the time, and why did it not take further action despite having that knowledge? In January 2006, Ivy Ridge announced that it had separated from WWASP due to negative publicity. However, Teen Help, the marketing arm of WWASP, continued to promote the institution until March 2007. The validity of this separation claim remains highly questionable. In March 2009, Ivy Ridge announced that it would be closing temporarily for restructuring. At that time, only 60 students remained at the institution. They were all sent home or transferred to other programs. In April of that same year, the property was sold to a Delaware-based company, which made it clear that the institution would not reopen. Although the building was vacated, thousands of documents were left behind: punishment records, files, and even video footage. When former students later had the opportunity to enter the abandoned building, they discovered evidence of years of abuse. During this period, numerous former students filed lawsuits against the institution and those associated with it. Some cases were dismissed, while others remained unresolved. Ivy Ridge was not alone. Under the WWASP network, many other institutions worldwide operated using the same methods, among which Tranquility Bay in Jamaica
became particularly infamous. The institutions were shut down one by one, yet Robert Litchfield, the founder of this network, never faced any major legal consequences. After years of silence, in 2024, a three-part documentary series was released, directed by Catherine Kubler, who herself spent 15 months at Ivy Ridge. Through the testimonies of former students, recovered documents, and CCTV footage, this series brought the story of what went on inside the institution to the public eye. Following the release of this documentary, a new wave of outcry began. St. Lawrence County District Attorney Gary Pasqua announced that a new investigation into Ivy Ridge was underway. However, he also noted that his office had not found any direct reports of abuse in the files they possessed, a statement that contradicts the State Education Department's own 2006 letter. Today, that campus still stands abandoned, listed for sale. But for those who spent their childhoods within those walls, this story is far from over. Many former students still struggle with mental trauma today. Some remain in contact through online communities, reminding one another that they are not alone. The original founder of this institution remains largely beyond the reach of major punishment. But for the families who sent their children there in hopes of help, the question remains, how could this system persist for so many years, despite there being so much evidence? Ivy Ridge closed more than 15 years ago, but it took over a decade to break the silence that was forced upon those inside its walls. And that fight to break the silence, it is still ongoing.